Hello, everyone. Welcome. Ashala here, bringing you a very special guest today. This is my dear friend, Charlyne Chiasson. Welcome back, Charlyne.
Thank you, Ashala.
I had Charlyne on my channel. I can't even believe it's a whole year ago now, at the time when we were transitioning from the past Chinese New Year into the year of the water tiger, which, as you remember, is my year. I actually am a water tiger. So Charlyne gave us an incredible description of what we could look forward to in the year ahead of the water tiger. She pulled a card for us at that time, and it was so impactful for a lot of my viewers. So I'm just absolutely delighted, Charlyne, to have you back, helping us understand more about Chinese astrology and also about how we can welcome in this year of the water rabbit and receive the ultimate gifts and blessings from this year. And I feel like if we understand a little bit more about what it means, what this Chinese zodiac means and what the year of the water rabbit means, we can access more of the potency that it has to offer us. So thank you so much for bringing your wisdom to us today, and also giving us an opportunity to find out more, learn more from your YouTube channel, which I have a link to below. It's called Radical Feng Shui with Charlyne. So you can access that link below, and later on in our interview, we'll talk more about how you can access other offerings that Charlyne has that are available immediately. So I'm going to just give you a little bit of a background. My dear friend Charlyne, who we've known each other for almost 20 years, is a Feng Shui consultant and an author. She's written a book on Feng Shui, and she also practices 9-star key astrology. Now that sounds really kind of obscure and exotic, and it is basically a form of Chinese astrology. So we're going to be talking about that a little bit here. She's also an interior designer and an energy clearing practitioner. So thank you again, Charlyne. Welcome to the show.
We're going to having me. Enjoyed it.
Yeah, totally. We're going to start off with a really basic question. I know it's I've known Charlyne for years, and it's so hard. She knows so much. It's hard for her to just talk about, like, what is this basic thing? What is the Chinese zodiac? But if you can, Char, like, summarize it simply for our viewers. What is this thing called the Chinese zodiac?
Well, because I know so much, Ashala, I'm just going to give you pretty much a definition, because at least it's clear, okay? The Chinese zodiac is a traditional classification scheme based on the Chinese calendar that assigns an animal and its reputed abilities and characteristics of each animal to each year, and they represent the 12-year cycle. So it originates in China. It's a zodiac, and it's popular in many Asian countries. So I often call it Asian Lunar New Year, because it's popular in East Asia, Southeast Asia, Japan, Korea, Vietnam, Singapore, Nepal, Bhutan, Cambodia, Thailand. There's many countries. And now it's because there's so many, we're infused with people around the planet. Many people, celebrate this time of year, and it's happening January 27th.
Okay. Well, it's interesting when you say that it assigns an animal to each year. Interesting how in Western astrology, it also has 12 signs, but it assigns a sign to each month, basically. So interesting that we're looking at one that assigns the demarcation of the change is by year, and one is month to month.
Yes. But the other interesting thing is that every zodiac sign has a Chinese animal assigned to it as well. So there is an overlap between these ancient systems.
Oh, interesting. Okay. So in effect, we can access a lot of wisdom from putting those two together. If we say, like myself, for example, I am in the Western astrology sign of Gemini, which is during that certain period between, I think it's the 21st of May and the 20th of June every year. But I'm also in the Chinese astrology, the sign of the tiger. So I can put those two together and learn more about my basic, astrological makeup, which can be really valuable in helping an individual navigate their life with more awareness about perhaps why they are the way they are, what they attract. I mean, we can just go on and on about all the value that this can offer us. So how does a person find out their Chinese zodiac chart? Like, what would you recommend?
I have charts, but the simplest thing to do is when you go to the internet, just put in your birth year and go Chinese animal year and element. And it'll immediately take you to the year you're born and the element you were born under. But know that the Chinese, the month and the year, I think you were going to ask me this, that it changes every year. So you have to be careful to look at that.
Okay, so you're saying that if I wanted to know what my Chinese animal was, I put my birth date in, and then I just put in beside it Chinese year and animal.
An element. Yeah.
An element. Chinese
year, bring you up.
Animal and element. Okay.
Yeah.
And then I can have that information. I need to put my exact birth date or just the year?
Well, that's the thing. It's good to put your exact birth date in because the Chinese New Year starts on the second new moon after the solstice, which is a period of time that changes annually. So it's always between the 20th of January and February 21st. So it's good to put in your exact birth date because you could actually be the animal of the year before you. If you're born in January, for example, if you're born in January 18th, you're going to be born the year before you. Anybody that's born up till the 20th will always be the year before, but then you have to check the exact date to find out, do you qualify for the next year or not? The little bit of a complexity and the difference between the Gregorian calendar and the ancient lunar solar calendars that many cultures follow.
Okay. Yes, right. Because obviously if it's all the way between, January, somewhere between January 20th and February, I think you said 20th or something like that. Yeah, like then if you were born early in February, you're not sure, are you from the year before or are you from the year that your actual birth year is? So yeah, it's a little bit confusing. Basically, if a person puts in their full birth date and then inquires about their Chinese zodiac animal and element.
And usually, if you ask that, it will tell you what day that year started right in the description. So often it's right there. Oh, it's February 6th. You might be born on the 7th. So it will say that. Then you'll know which.
Okay, so this was going to be my next question. We've already kind of got into it, but it changes from year to year, but generally it's in this time of year, which is here in, our Northern Hemisphere kind of Western civilization, it's getting into almost like the springtime. So we could say that according to the Asian astrology, the new year begins with the spring energy. Is that accurate?
Yeah, the specific date for that changeover is February 4th, which is the first day of the month of the tiger, which is always in the Asian calendar and in Asia, first day of spring. So even though there's lots of snow still here in the Northern Hemisphere, we're looking at that little seed underground and there's lots going on. So they say that spring because the energy starts to move before it bursts out of the seed and up towards the earth. So there's that energy of, it's hopeful to say the least. This time of year is hopeful.
Yeah, it is hopeful. It's like, gosh, the sun is coming back and it does feel like a kind of a rebirth in a way. So it makes sense to me. I've always I've always felt a little strange about our Gregorian New Year at, still in the dark of the, but I guess it's also
It's called,
associated with the slow return of the sun.
and that's why it's called Lunar New Year.
Right.
As opposed to a New Year, yeah.
So what's the sign that's coming up? Well, first of all, when's the exact date this year that we go from transitioning from the old animal, which is me, the water tiger, to the next one? When's the exact date for that this year, Char?
On your way out, honey. All I can say.
I am.
So on January 22nd is the new moon. And that's kind of the start. But in the Asian system, they kind of practice, it's a 2-week celebratory system from new to full moon. So they do a lot of different things in that time, but they also celebrate the eve. So sometimes they'll say it's the 21st, but for all intents and purposes, we're saying January 22nd, the new moon is the start of the Asian Lunar New Year.
Wonderful. Okay. So
and
we are, go ahead.
Water rabbits coming.
The water rabbit.
Yes. So we often have, because the elementals are such a big part of my work in Feng Shui, that what people don't understand is that there's always 2 elemental years together. So we had 2 metal years. So we had I think it was a metal rat and a metal pig. Then we went to water tiger, and we're going to have a water rabbit. Then we'll switch over to wood. The next 2 animals will be 2 years of wood energy. So this is a continuation of the water element, and it's the rabbit. So the rabbit's much different than the tiger, but the element of water is going to be prevalent and kind of the same.
Okay, let's go right into what do we need to know? What are the main qualities of the rabbit, first of all, and then the water rabbit in addition to that?
So rabbits are very revered in China, and they have a definitive association with the moon. And in fact, in Asia, they don't see the man in the moon, they see the rabbit in the moon. And there's a whole mythology around that, which I won't get into, but I will be doing that in my presentation. Rabbits are considered very intelligent, they're gentle, they're kind, but they're also very astute in what they do and how they present themselves. They're stylish. They have a refinement to like fine art and culture. So all of these attributes will kind of come into our year this year, where we can use some of these things and reflect them in our own worlds. Even doesn't matter what your year, what your birth year, who you are, that if you look at some of these things based on the rabbit, you can start to kind of bring that in, like more culture. I'm saying it's a great year to do Feng Shui, because then you can get alignment. It's a great year to, get into the arts or things that you've not done before, like taking, doing new things in your life. Mm-hmm. So it's also because the rabbit sits in the east, which actually on the calendar, on the chart, that it alludes to sunrise and spring and new beginnings. So it's a great year to look at the newness that we can bring, starting new things or elevating what we're doing to a new level. And that's the beauty of this year.
Well, I mean, I'm so thrilled to hear this. And I've purposely not listened or looked into anything because I was waiting for our interview because I wanted to hear it from you. Like fortune, new beginnings, culture, refinement, intelligence, gentleness, like hopefulness.
Yes.
Like, do we need this or what? It's like, I feel like we need this more than anything. Now, I just have to say too, Char, when I think about the rabbit, I always think about that old, lucky charm of carrying around a rabbit's foot. And that,
there you go.
We don't see that anymore. I mean, obviously the animal rights people are like, my God, we can't have these dead rabbit feet hanging everywhere. But when we were kids, I remember you used to be able to buy little rabbit's foot keychains and stuff, right?
I know.
Like,
so you have to wonder where does that translate? Like, this is very Asian, and they're considered good luck and smart and intelligent and astute. Yeah. And yet in Western culture, here we are with the rabbit as a good luck charm. So it just shows that even though we don't know it, the infusion of cultures is a very powerful thing. And of course, cultural diversity is very much up in our society these days. So it's just it's a way of looking at it. It's like, we're not so different. You know, there's so many things that are infused in what we do that we don't even know where it comes from sometimes. And I love that about the rabbit year, because it's introducing us to this refinement and culture that we can actually open our minds and our brains and our lives and everything to like, just take a moment and look at it. Not so quite as pouncy as the tiger was last year. A little bit different presentation.
Beautiful. Now, what specifically characterizes the addition of water on the rabbit? Like, how does the water rabbit different from the general rabbit?
Well, there's two things. So because the rabbit lives in the east, it's considered, its base element is considered wood. So having had a wood tiger year, a water tiger year, and a water rabbit year, we're having water feeding the wood element of rabbit. So it's got that another, wave of infusion and power and movement. However, we have to understand that water has many, many ways of presenting. Ice, steam, the raging river, the babbling brook, stagnant ponds, or the bottom of the ocean where things are very mysterious. And as you know in your work, and I do in mine, that water has a very strong affinity to emotional energy. So the combination of like this rabbit who's also, in the east, which is all about sunshine and it's very young energy and powerful, is also about the subversiveness. What happens underwater? Like, what are we going to be pushed towards? And the main thing I'll say about that is that personal development this year is so up to everybody.
Oh my God, I just got the chills when you said that.
Me too. Yeah, it's a year that we can really go deep and bring that up into our worlds and our relationships. It's a very powerful year for that.
Well, and I just always think about the element of water as there's a healing quality to it as well. Is that, and I think about like the water and the tiger, that's pretty fierce, intensive healing. When I think about the water, when I think about the water with the more gentle energy of the rabbit, it almost feels to me like this is a little bit more of a gentle way of healing this year, as opposed to the like, whoa, we're
yeah. Well, it kind of caught us off guard at times. It was just a little abrupt, and it rattled us at the core. And now with the rabbit energy coming in, it's just going to penetrate in a way. So yeah, when we get into personal development, it is usually about healing. Like, we need to heal when we go into those places, whether it's counseling or whether it's, just getting to know your partner better or getting to know your coworkers better. It's all about interpersonal relationships. And when we give way and acquiesce to that, surrender to the demands of the moment, then we really pull in that energy, and we're able to then, sometimes we're not even aware that we're healing, but in retrospect,
Well, and I can't help but wondering, because one of the other things that we know about the rabbit is that they tend to multiply quickly, that they're very prolific. And I just wonder, does that sort of translate into relationships and a lot of mates finding each other, or intimacy being highlighted this year? What do you feel about that?
Oddly enough, in all my research and all that I've written and I'm going to be sharing soon, I didn't even think of that, other than where it kept coming in was group dynamics. Is that, group therapy or group healing, or colleagues. It's about really pulling people together in community. So that's how I'm seeing it. So it's not so much as relationships, like having multiple partners, or checking out that, although that could be part of it too. I mean, this time next year we'll be definitely looking at what that all is about. But what I'm saying is that the opportunity is to be in group and community and do our healing internally, but also getting different reflections. Like, if I have a problem, like, I'll call you perhaps, but if I sit down with 2 or 3 girlfriends, then I get better, then I get more of a feedback from their perspectives. And that's really what's going to
Different.
wake us up this year. Yeah.
Yeah, because to me, when I think about the rabbit and its strategic, strategy for survival, it has been a lot about having large numbers, like large population, and that they're able to reproduce and repopulate really rapidly. So I love this. I love that we're actually looking at thinking about our lives as including more people and
Yes.
expanding our social network, and that
Yes.
diversity, that collective diversity is going to help lift us up.
Absolutely. And it's happening on all levels with the rabbit year. The potential is there. Now, there's also there's one thing about the rabbit that people don't understand or know, and that's it has a real, it holds its cards close to its chest. It doesn't reveal all, but I call that a discernment. It's like, I call it a beautiful discernment of the rabbit to like, wait, watch. They're very observant. They watch and wait before they say anything. They're very wise. So those of us that are turning 60 in 2023 are water rabbits, because it takes 60 years to go through 12 animals and 5 elements. So that's a 60-year cycle. So you're coming back to your own. So those rabbits, with their wisdom and their ability to be astute, they have a lot of wisdom. So if you know people involved that are turning 60, listen to them. They have a lot to share. Yeah.
Okay. And this is their year, because it's back after 60 years. They're back in their sign and their element. That's incredible.
Right. I know.
Incredible. Wow, Char, this is really cool. And I feel like, myself, and I'm sure a lot of our viewers are getting even more curious, because obviously we know that coming into this new year, it's going to affect each of the 12 signs and their different elements in different ways. This is something that you're absolutely expert in. You've been doing it for as long as I've known you, for decades. So where can people go to learn more? We've already spoken about your YouTube channel, Radical Feng Shui with Charlyne, which the link is below. And I understand you have an amazing presentation coming up. Tell us more about that, Char.
Well, I'm going to I do it annually. I've done it like, I don't know, 15, 20 years. And I've always, just showed up, whether I'm inviting a group of people over for a party or doing a big presentation at a hotel with other people, or whether I'm in another country and I just show up, give invitations and have whoever show up. So what I do is I talk about the year, and I talk about each, like I'll get whoever's in the room to give me what animal they are, and then I'll tell them what their predictions are. So as I've been doing this on Zoom the last couple of years, and now there's just so many people to kind of get together, I'm actually going to present on my YouTube channel and give you everything. And then for people that subscribe, I'll be like, if you're a subscriber and you say, hey, Char, what's happening for the water rat this year? Or what's happening for the metal tiger? I will send you that information personally. I will be talking about each and every animal, but I'll be giving you your elemental hit. So that's kind of fun. Also presenting on live on Facebook. So and that's public. So my business name is Adarsa, and there'll be a link to my website, ADARSA, and then it's my name, M. Charlyne Chiasson. So that's my Facebook, and you can go there and see me live, because I'll be doing a dual presentation with everything that I know about this year, what I've been researching, what I've just intuited. Like when I get into the elements, I just go into each and every animal, because I know so many people that I know one of every animal. I know all the elements, and I know how that element of the year is going to affect you. So it's kind of fun to know that, because it's very specific.
Well, and I want to close off by saying, Charlyne does this as her business. She's been doing it, as she said, for decades. And my older daughter just had a reading with her for her upcoming year. And it was so transformational. She not only did she express how transformational it was, but I actually witnessed that right after your reading with her, Char, like she turned around, like her whole energy and perspective shifted very dramatically. And so this is such a blessing, this work you're doing. And would you leave us off with, because people, if they want to access Char's readings, her healings, her clearings, her, Feng Shui guidance, check out her website and the links below. Would you close us off by pulling a card for this year, for all of us?
I just want to say something about this deck. It's called the Tao deck, and it's based on the I Ching. So the Book of Changes, which comes from Confucian times and has to do with trigrams, and those trigrams have to do with mother, father, oldest, middle, and youngest son, oldest, middle, and youngest daughter, and then the spiritual child that lives in the center. So this deck is based on that, and you can see you can't see so well, but you can see some of the trigrams here for this particular card.
So those are what we refer to as the I Ching trigrams.
Yes. Well, the I Ching trigrams, and it's called the Tao deck. And I do my readings, I have many types of readings, but the one that I favor and the one I did for your daughter is based on the 5 elements. So we talk about how the elements take us through what the subversive water is, what's the controlling metal, what's the passionate fire personality, what are you grounded in, and what's all about the new beginning. So it really covers a lot of territory in these readings, and it was an honor for me to do that yesterday.
Oh, wonderful.
So I'm going to, what I do when I do this, whether it's in person or not, I blow into the deck.
Yeah.
Put it to my third eye. And then I intuit I'm asking for guidance for this year to share with you right in the moment. And
with the collective.
Yes. Knock 3 times with my left hand, the feminine force. So I'm going to start. Should you tell me when to stop? Or should I
Sure, we could co-create it like that. I love it. Sure. Ooh, I get the chills. Okay.
But when you say stop, the next single card that comes up is the card.
Okay, here we go. I'll tune in.
Whoop, few drops.
Oh, it flew. It flew. I was just about to say, okay, well.
Yeah, we can't have 3 cards at once.
Okay. Stop.
Ooh. So I'm going to say one thing. There was, just before you said to stop, one of the cards that I saw was the peace card.
Okay.
But I kept going because we got discombobulated. That was the one that turned up on the floor of the 3 that fell. I'll show you. This card is called discipline.
Oh, I see. It's the character. He's got a sword. Yeah, beautiful.
Yes.
Yes.
What it says on it, and he does have a sword. There's the new moon in the background. It's coming out of winter like we are right now. And there he is, having practiced, and we're ready for some discipline. Okay. It's about exerting authority. It's about defining what we need. And I talk about this as well. It's like, this powerful time is a really good time to get very clear about what you want this year. The clearer you are, the sooner, the more intention, and the more what is that, like a big wave, the energy will come to make it happen. It's time to take the bull by the horns, create a new strategy, and mobilize your forces. And I have to say, Ashala, that is such I just get the goosebumps again. It's such a big thing around what the rabbit is offering us this year, is the ability to just get super focused and disciplined about what we want. And without that, then we're at risk of meandering through being on a boat in the middle of the water going, oh, I don't know what I wanted. What did I want? Where am I going? Well, when you're in the middle of the water with a boat and a paddle, you don't know which direction to go in. So right now, it's a really good time, like a really good practice is clean your house or clean your room, like really set an altar if that's what you do, whatever it is. And as you're doing this, the energy of what you want to create this year is really powerful. And it's not necessarily creating something new, but it's bringing new life and energy to that. And then the card that had popped out, the peace card, is, I don't know where it's at in the deck right now. If I can find it, I will. But it's all beautiful blue water. It's just totally about the water energy. So it's a definite infusion of that energy into the air. So I think we're being called to really pay attention to all the aspects of water and where we at. Are we frozen in our ideas? Are we stagnant in what we've been doing? Are we ready to be adventurous and be that raging river? Are we just going to be quiet and gentle and be that babbling brook? So there's lots of presentations. Are we going to be steamy? Are we going to be foggy? Like there's so many ways that we can interpret water and how we want to be in it. And we can be many things at once. Like maybe by the summer, you've been working really hard, you need to take a break. I'm just going to pull the fog in, I'm going to pull the sun in, and the water's going to evaporate. There's so many ways of working with these energies, which I find has taught me, the elementals have taught me so much. And I started studying Feng Shui before I met the master that brought me back to the elemental study. Because I was like looking at, oh, where's the wealth and where's the children and where's the this and where's the career and the house, right? I was all, because I'm a designer, I wanted to plot it on a floor plan, which I did. But when I went back to the elementals, I got deeper in my practice, and that was 28 years ago.
Wow, Charlyne, thank you so much, dear. Thank you for bringing all that wisdom, your background, your perspective, and, opening the door, inviting people who want to learn more, go on this journey. You've got lots of content up on your YouTube channel, so check that out, folks. The link is below. I look forward to seeing you again at the very minimum every year at this time, Charlyne, on my channel. Blessings to you, dear. Thank you. Blessings to you all. Bye for now.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Ashella. Have a happy Gung Hei Fat Choi. Happy New Year.
Fat Choi.
See you again on the flip side.
Great.